Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the SimSN Podcast, the show where I ask some of my favorite questions to some of your favorite people. And today, my guest has been described as the worst admin, but I'm delighted that he is here today. Sir Guest, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I am smackemz. I'm the coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers. Let's go Mountaineers, or the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the San Antonio Spurs in the basketball league as well. So glad to be here.
Happy to have you on, man. Um, I know we focus, generally on the pro side of things, but I do have to say, I still say that West Virginia is one of my favorite storylines from college football. Watching you take them from a triple-digit team in terms of rankings to where they are now has been a lot of fun,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's been great to play against you a couple times.
yeah. I guess I'm glad that I got those games out of the way. So now you've got all those good receivers, and Indiana's looking pretty stout. So I'm kind of glad that we got the games out of the way. But yeah. Um, Yeah, West Virginia, for those who are fairly new to the sim, was generated. How the generation worked. West Virginia was one of the lesser teams, and I went to West Virginia, so I was going to take them regardless. And so if you need a success story, we went from the bottom to kind of two-time playoff participants. So it definitely can be done. And honestly, when your team is really bad, it almost makes it easier to rebuild because everybody can help you, right? Like West Virginia was bad, so like anybody that I could bring in, especially that first year, right? Like I got, I don't know, five or six, seven, 4 stars, but like all these 3 stars were better than anybody I had on my team. So sometimes the full rebuilds are actually a little easier than the like middle of the rebuilds where you got to focus on certain positions. So that I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, and the game days might not be as fun when you're losing, but the team building is a lot of fun when you're like, oh, this is my guy and he's gonna play like as soon as I get him on the roster.
Yeah, yeah. The very first year was tough because that game we stunk, and I think we ended up winning like 3 or 4 games, I think, so it was okay. But um, yeah, the when you start recruiting and bringing in people, the excitement is like seeing your guys on the field, and once in a while they like pop, right? You have like I remember, I think he's a senior now, but I have an outside linebacker named Mike Johnson. He's like a pass rush guy, and he started his redshirt freshman year, and he started every year. And I remember like the last game of his redshirt freshman year, he had like 2 or 3 sacks in a game, and I remember just like this is the greatest. Like it feels so good. Like they kind of stink all year, and then they have one of these like big pop games, and you like really gets like you pumped up for the next season. So those like those pops kind of happen in the sim, and it really kind of makes those rebuilds a lot of fun when you can see the future kind of like before they get there.
Hmm. And you started a time before like boom bust and a couple other things that give guys even an additional edge beyond that. Um,
Yeah.
who do you think was your biggest acquisition when you were rebuilding? Did you target, was it like quarterback? Did you target a specific position, or was it someone that just like kind of ended up surprising you?
um I would say there's two. The best acquisition like in that early group was is Riley Jennings, who's turned out to be, he was like a 4 star guy with pretty good potential, and I think he started all 4 years, and he's, I think, consensus one of the top players in the nation. So he's probably the best from the early class. But the catalyst was Daz Reed, right?
Mm.
And there's kind of a funny story behind that one with I can't remember, but I think he originally like committed to Stanford, and then there was some kind of an issue with the sync or something, so they redid it, and he ended up coming to West Virginia. So they kind of joked that it was like a commitment flip, but um, Ricky likes to point that one out every time Reed has a big game. He's like should have been a Cardinal. But yeah, so those two guys, Riley Jennings is probably our best bet at a high draft pick, and then Reed has been he's one of the better quarterbacks now, so those guys have really like turned the program a while around.
Yeah. Stanford has quite a few of those stories of guys that should have been
Yeah,
Cardinals based on
yeah,
probability. Um,
yeah, yeah,
so going back even further, how did you find your way to SimSN?
yeah. I think like so I watched the episode with Alex and he talked about the original Discord, and I was in it for a while, um, and then I joined back closer to when, because I think that started for a while when they were building the sim, and then I kind of left for a while, and I came back closer to when, or I got re-involved closer to when the sim was starting to go live. So I am another one that came from another college football sim that a lot of folks used to do. I also coached West Virginia there as well. Um, so I kind of like I wasn't one of the first few folks, but I joined like before the sim really got off the ground. So yeah, kind of same group of folks, I suppose.
What I know there's been all kinds of bells and whistles added to the engine and to the interface, and the community has grown. What's the biggest change you think now? The way things are run now versus when they started out.
I there's a lot of things that all the kudos to all the devs to this like community, because they really like listen and try to like do a lot of different things to improve. And I think things like the boom and the bust, both for college and also for the rookies, has been that's like feedback that they got, because it's like the freshmen aren't good enough, right? Like they aren't good enough to play, or the rookies, like we don't feel like they're really contributing, and the boom and the bust kind of like added um, some chance there. So that's probably one of my favorites. And then just like the interface in general, and like interface 2.0, it really just um, makes it so much easier to play. I'm a big I do a lot of things on my phone.
Hmm.
I do a lot of things on my phone, and so um, interface 2.0 is really mobile friendly, which is big for me. I don't get on my computer very often because I spend all day on my computer for work. Um, outside of the boom and the bust, like just the mobile friendliness of interface 2.0 it's a big win for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what that's like. It's you have your work day on the sad screen, and then you got to go home to the happy screen. But sometimes
Yeah,
it doesn't feel quite far enough apart.
yeah, right.
So pivoting now to the NFL, your Steelers ended on a tear last season. I don't remember if it was six in a row or seven in a row. You ended the regular season on a huge win streak. Um,
Hmm.
was there something you said you kind of like figured out about the team that hit that?
Um, so I have Danny Kipnis, right?
Hmm.
He's a fullback. And then I've got DeAndre Wieters, who's
Don't forget to
you
eat
would
your
look at
Weeters.
him and yeah, exactly. You'd look at him and you would think he's probably just kind of um, he's got a good agility for a running back, even though he's not super highly rated. So like the combination of Kipnis and Wieters is pretty nice in the option game with Morris, who is um, I think you pointed out, and I had never noticed that Morris is like 240 pounds. He's like
Huge.
humongous, right? It's like if Big Ben was fast or something or whatever. But uh, I think early in the season or in the middle of the season, I had tried like Kipnis at just running back, and um, then I moved him back to fullback because spread option has a double running back scheme, and then there's also a fullback, running back and fullback formation, and so utilize like those formations and having all three of those guys on the field really kind of opened it up because you can't really focus focus on any one of them because they all have really good strengths and um, either agility or strength, right? And then I've got my offensive line, like overall wise, isn't super great, but they're all like run based linemen, so their run blocking is good. So, um, I really kind of focused on the run, and I've got like one or two good receivers that are like good. So, with Williams and Paul Garul, um, so you know, Kipnis, keeping him at fullback, but being able to kind of keep him on the field for a majority of the time is really kind of what opened up our offense, which helped us kind of turn it around there in the middle of the year. We also had a really hard schedule, right? I think there was like in the middle we played Washington and Denver and all these teams that are really good, and so it kind of like made us look a little worse than I think we were because a lot of those teams went really far. So losses to them is a lot of teams lose to Washington and Denver. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Join the club. Um, um, so I think you're coming into this year with. Well, I was going to say, I think as overalls get higher in general, yeah, I think it's going to be more and more important to focus on those specific attributes, like you said, that are high, because we see this kind of creep up of the numbers, and it's it's going to be harder and harder to just be like, oh, we'll just field better players, higher overall players, and then we start looking to, oh, well, I have agile guys, I have strong guys, I have this, I have that. How do I maximize that one number that's the highest? So
yeah,
um, I'm trying to remember from the season previews. I feel like Pittsburgh is in a fairly similar place in terms of roster build. Was it this offseason that you extended Morris, or was it last year? I forget.
it was this off season. So I extended him for 3 years, and then then he regressed, um, which I also think that's a fun part of the sim, even though it like has been a detriment to me a couple of times because I had another guy that as soon as I extended him, he like was a early decliner, right? But that makes it more fun, right? It's not just like a numbers game. Like there's other contributing factors. So, you know, Robert Morris, he's I don't know. You might have to help me remember how old he is, but he's south of the median peak age for a quarterback. I think he's like 31 or 30. He's like 31, and I think the median is 32 or something.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds right. Yeah, I
and
think
so
he was. I think he was 30 last year, and we were talking about extensions and stuff. So yeah, I think that makes sense. He's be 31 now.
yeah, so I gave him a 3 year deal, um, and I thought the numbers would play in my favor. That maybe he would have one more progression, and then he'd kind of level off. But he went down. I think he regressed one, so he's still fine. Um, but that's why I did the 3 year deal because he'll still be okay. And um, I've had Kyle Higbee kind of in the wings for a while now, and he's scramblers are hard to play when they're young because they can't
Yeah.
throw. But I think he's at like 70 overall now. So if I keep if he has another progression or two, he could probably be a passable replacement. At least it gives me options, so I wouldn't have to draft somebody like early. I wouldn't be forced to
Hmm.
take somebody early, but
Yeah. You did add another quarterback though recently to your
yeah,
team.
that is, that is true. David Ross. I was, I didn't have a punter, and um, at that point in the second, I know it's like taking a punter in the second round silly, but like, at that point, there was a running back that I really liked, and I think I can't remember who took him, and I honestly can't remember his name to be honest. But he got taken a couple of picks before me, so I was like, I need a punter. This guy is like sim lore, so he's obviously going to be a great punter, right? And he has a secondary position as a quarterback, so if he has to play quarterback, it's probably fine. I was really surprised at his like throw numbers. He's got like
It's
67 throw power or
it's
something.
really
It's like,
good.
yeah,
I mean, mid
he's
60s
he
is probably better than a fair number of scramblers.
it's pretty close to Kyle Higbee, who's 70 overall at this point. So he is a plenty passable emergency quarterback. But yeah, I didn't. I mean, I figured he would probably have 40s or 50s, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he played quarterback a few times in college, enough to get like the the secondary position. But when I saw his like mid 60s, I was like, gosh, this guy's the real deal. He could be a real quarterback if somebody really wanted to dedicate that to be his position, I guess.
I'm excited to see how that goes. Um, and in general, as especially as college players or as college coaches make more dual position athletes, as we have the specialist athletes coming into play now, I'm excited to
Mm-hmm.
see what kind of mad creations uh, coaches start coming with and where they start playing. I know one year at
Yeah.
Indiana, my top tight end was a receiving fullback, and then I had Albuquerque, who was a receiving running back, who I put out at wide receiver.
Yeah,
Um,
I had I had or I have Kevin Gurley in college. He was a run stopping free safety, and I moved him to middle linebacker last year, and he made it. He was ended up being an All American. Um, he was I mean he was like a B plus I think, but he was just like spectacular. Again, it just shows like the kind of the depth of the sim. Like you have a guy who's good, but not like if you put him against his ratings against like the top players, he's not like a top player, but he just like really showed out. um I don't know if he probably won't get drafted though unless he booms, because I think he's an A minus
mm,
senior. But um it's still fun. Like those storylines are fun when you have these like college guys who show out, and there's plenty of college guys who are in real life who are great college players and don't ever make it to the NFL. So it's fun that we can have storylines like that.
yeah, the more complicated or bizarre things get, I'm always like, well, there's an analog in there somewhere. That's definitely happened to someone at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I had a thought and then I lost it. So how do you, as a fellow AFC North coach, how do you see this battle shaking out in 26? Because I've seen it a couple different ways. I know what I ranked. I know what other people have said. Um, Again, you guys have finished on that long winning streak last year. How do you feel coming into this season?
Um, I mean, I feel reasonably good about the Steelers. Again, un unfortunately, I don't know. Like, I think we're a playoff team. We have the talent to be a playoff team. Our defense is really good, and I think with the balance of the sim, like I think the defense will really make a big difference this year. Um, I don't know if we have enough to beat Denver or Washington or
Mm-hmm.
those really good teams. Um, though we did play Denver in the preseason, and it was like a reasonably close game. Um, but I think they have Ryan Johnson now, and they had Hugh Kahn in that game, so maybe it might be a little different. But I mean, I think on paper we're probably the favorites, but I think um, you guys have got a good thing going there in Cleveland. You got a good coach, and you guys got a good team. So I wouldn't count Cleveland out either. And then I think Baltimore is a team that will be reckoned with in a couple years. I think Brandon Savage is a really good pick, and it's really exciting. I don't know how much he can do his rookie season, right? Because you know, uh, rookie pocket quarterback. I don't know if they've revealed him. I feel like they drafted him, but they didn't scout him all the way, so I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know if
think we've
he's
seen
like
an overall yet
yeah.
officially.
So I think he will have some rookie struggles, but I think they're on the right track to be really good. Like a couple years, they're probably going to be they could be the best team in the division, but And I don't really honestly know anything about Cincinnati. Ever, ever since they had all their cap problems, I feel like they're still kind of rebuilding a little bit over there. But
Yeah,
um,
feels like they're kind of at the bottom and now working their way back up.
yeah,
Um, so I know we just talked about the North, but in either league, college or pro, other than your own teams, any coaches or teams interesting storylines that you're uh, following or that interest you?
I am definitely interested in how Washington and Denver manage their rosters. Like, can they? They've been so good for so long, and these both those guys like Alex and Sweezy and um, those teams are really good at the game. So like I'm interested to see how they sustain or how they can kind of like build those rosters, right? Or like sustain excellence. Because if anybody can do it, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to do it. Um, I am from a college perspective. Um, Bowling Green, I played them in preseason. They're very very good.
Mm.
Um, I feel like I think they're pretty consensus like top five talent team, but I feel like this is the year that like Poopy really like takes them. They're my team. I think they're gonna win it. So I'm real interested in them. Their defense is really good. Like we played in the spring and I we looked really bad. I think they like I think uh, my running back Michael March Lillard had like less than 3 yards of carry, and he's like an a running back. Just obliterated us. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do. Um, and then also the Chargers are pretty interesting. They've got a lot of speed, and speed is a really interesting attribute in the sim because it's like a um, secondary kind of like it like influences the play. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really interested to see like I feel like speed gives you a lot of like opportunities for big plays.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm interested to see like a team that has speed everywhere. Like, are they going to have a lot of really big long touchdown plays? Because that will be interesting to see. And he's got speed like his quarterback's fast, and then his rookie running back Harrod is also fast, but then all his receivers are fast. So I think that's an interesting case study, right, for the sim. Like if you've got speed everywhere, like how is that going to impact your ability to score? So I think that's pretty interesting also.
Yeah, Harrod's speed is nuts. I think it was 97 before camp. Like it just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a that's a I I wasn't I was only like passively able to participate in the draft because I think I was out of town. But that seemed like a pretty big get for him where he was able to draft him like because he's a pretty highly rated player. And I know running backs are interesting now with their age curve, but like that's pretty stellar pick. It's a really good draft for the Chargers. I think he had a lot of good picks there. So
Yeah, that's one of the highest individual attributes I think I've ever seen. Um,
mm,
yeah, because I know. Yeah, he had 97 speed, and then I found LaFell, who I think had like 96 or
yeah.
97 strength.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some units out there.
Yeah, the drafts have with the boom and bust. We talked about the boom bust earlier, but the drafts have become even more interesting because like LaFell was like a in the draft book he was like an undraftable guy or something, right? And you
Hmm.
like plucked him out, and he ends up being one of the better players in the draft. So it's like those storylines are a lot of fun, and it makes it correlate more to more to like real life, which is cool.
Yeah, I literally learned today, at least as of the day we're recording this, that FCS guys, when they join a team off of off of the recruiting board, can boom or bust multiple times.
Yeah.
I did not even realize that. And then I looked through my thing and I was like, oh yeah, there's like 6A overall true sophomores on FCS teams.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I saw the Discord where they were posting like the guy from Montana. And I didn't know that that was a thing either. I mean, it makes it fun, right? Because those FCS guys are probably, um, especially since FCS is mostly just AI. It's like fun to have those boom busts there because they're not making the same. The AI aren't isn't like redshirting people, or and they're not getting like the same roster the same smart roster decisions that humans are. So it's kind of a fun thing. But yeah, I didn't know that either. When I saw that in the Discord, I was surprised by it for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely some FCF draftees coming
Mm-hmm.
behind what's his name, Daniel Johns.
Oh, was
That
that the guy from East Tennessee?
yeah, that A overall fullback. The transfer wise is going to be interesting too. I mean, imagine they are, at least the way the sim is written, less likely to transfer because they're going to be at the top, of course, the depth chart. Whereas in real
Yeah,
life, even the best players might want to jump ship. Um,
right.
but so yeah, it's only just kind of to have this other thing in the background, and then guys just show up,
Mm-hmm.
AI controlled for 4 years, and then who knows
Yeah,
what happens.
Daniel Johns ends up with like 17 career carries because he's a fullback, and then he gets to the NFL, and it's like, here you go, buddy, tote the rock.
Oh yeah, I still remember Andrew Richards being taken in the first round of the very first NFL draft, and he had like 20 catches because some
Mm-hmm.
weird thing had happened with the AI depth charts, and he had basically never played, but he was like an A overall receiver.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah, those early AI depth charts were funny because I think they were written to really prioritize like the scheme fit.
mm,
So you might have an A overall, but if it wasn't a scheme fit, it would prioritize somebody else um, over them. So yeah, there was a couple of those like instances where it's like this guy should be playing, but the way the AI worked, it was like, no, I'd rather have this speed receiver because that's my scheme, even though he's a B.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Um, I gotta say, working with Rocket this offseason on some of these engine changes, just even dipping my toes into that, I have so much respect for Rocket and
Yeah.
Tuscan and the fact that as much works as it does,
Hmm.
because there's
Yeah.
just so much to code and so much to learn. I have one thing which I'll have to remember to post later. It's me attempting to fix the college overtime to get it to do consecutive 2 pointers,
Hmm.
and I don't remember what I had done, but it's just something had gone wrong, and watching the sim try to figure out what I had told it to do. Like at one point, there's like a fifth down from the goal line, and they scored, and they score, and then there's a sixth down, six. It's like 6th and 6 from the goal line, and you're like, what is? So now, anytime anything odd happens, I'm like, you know what? Respect for as much working as it does, because
Hmm.
I've broken that code in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like we've got a group of people who have built like a pretty in-depth like football sim in their spare time, right?
Yeah,
That has improved significantly every season, right? And you know, when we find like little issues during the season, like it's typically like doesn't really impact. I mean, doesn't really impact the games, right? But it's we went from the first season for new coaches, right? There was like four schemes you could choose from if I remember right. It was like double wing and I don't remember spread option, and then there was like an air raid and vertical or something, right? And the game planning options were um, paled in comparison to what you can do now. Like you it's amazing how far it's come in a span of a few years, right? It's much kudos to those guys and people like you who have jumped in and built like skills and have helped improve the game with Kirby for and Jedi Bob like folks like that who've like helped, with the interface, with the coding and things like that. Like that's cool, and I think, I would imagine that Rocket and Tuscan, like I know as an admin, I appreciate all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool to see how far it's come for sure.
Yeah. So you're gonna get your time in the sun soon, right? With the season starting, do you normally take over like you like starting streams, right? That's kind of been one of your things, keeping the streams going.
That's Yeah, though Sagebo has been kind of doing that recently. So I could probably just kind of actually just be the worst admin and not do anything. Just power with nothing. Uh, yeah, starting streams is, because I work from home, and so I typically have access to. I also have a young child, so I have like lots of time to put in commands to start games. So um, and schedules are my thing because I'm a project manager. So
Okay.
so um, that probably annoys some of the admins because sometimes I try to project manage things, and they, it's like we don't need a project manager. So
Well, it doesn't hurt to say, hey, if we haven't gotten a reminder in a while, or hey, can we, make sure, because we'll communicate all the time in our own channels, but it's like, hey, we forget that, you know,
mhm.
members aren't getting updates, multiple times a
Yeah,
week, sometimes multiple times a day when we're running stuff and testing stuff.
yeah. Running a community, it's like hard. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of communication, and sometimes like even the obvious things are um, it's easy to like to miss, right? Just like, oh, we probably should tell people that. It's just kind of the one of those things. It's not intentional. It just kind of you know happens. But yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, and you absolutely never over communicate,
Hmm.
particularly when it comes to like, hey, games are starting. Is recruiting starting? No, that's next week. Is NFL starting? No, that's
Yeah,
next week. But the week, like,
yeah,
things like that, which again you take for granted once you know the answer. But it's like, if
yeah.
you want to make sure that people don't have to have been on Discord at a specific time of day to have gotten the message. So
Hmm. It's also really easy to get into the thought that you have a group of people who've been playing for a long time, so it's easy to think that everybody knows the answer. But as we've continued to expand, it's easy to forget that, like, oh, we have all these new coaches and they don't know um, that we do recruiting at noon on Wednesdays, and we have this big watch party and everybody does that, right? Like, it's easy to assume that since we've been doing it that everybody knows sometimes. So
yeah,
um, those are things that are also, it's like, have to remember to remind people about.
yeah, yeah. It's wild to me that like there are community members that I've gotten used to seeing around now because they're super active, and it's like they haven't played the sim yet. Like this is their first season coming up, and I'm like, oh right, you haven't actually gotten to like watch the games.
Yeah,
We haven't played the sim yet. Oh, this is gonna be great.
right. Yeah, you've drafted the Baltimore GM, like he's very active, right? And
Exactly.
it's like, but I don't actually think he's played a real game yet. Like, we've done the draft and we've had the preseason and the spring games, but like, again, like a new really active community member, and it's like, oh yeah, you've not actually recruited yet, so you might not know how it works. So yeah, those are things like that are easy to forget.
Yeah, it's like the South Park boys at the end of the World of Warcraft episode. It's like, what do we do now? Well, now we can play the game. Oh yeah. Well, Sweezy's always talked about how it's what he said, it's a recruiting game with a football mini
With a
game, or how I've
Yeah,
butchered the
football
quote,
meta
but
game, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely true. Um, I was also thinking, going back a ways, for every weird result, as a Browns fan, I can attest to this. For every weird result that you see in the sim, I have absolutely seen a real life game end that way. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
rem-
that's probably true.
I
Yeah.
remember being was I teen? Yeah, I was a teenager with when the Browns had just come back for the first few years, losing on opening day to the Chiefs on the Dwayne Rudd helmet throw when they had won the game, and he took his head off, or took his helmet off to celebrate, but the play wasn't over.
Oh man. The
Or the kick six to Baltimore, having a tie game, and you think the
hmm
worst thing that can happen is you go to overtime and then they block it and return it for a touchdown.
hmm
It's like, yeah, whatever you see in the sim, it is something like it or worse has
Probably.
happened in real life.
The Steelers had something like that in this year also. I think when they played Seattle, their rookie running back, Caleb Johnson, he was returning a kick or a punt or something, a punt, and I don't know if he like called fair catch or what he did, but he didn't catch the ball, and so it just went into the end zone. But he did something, and Seattle like recovered it, and they got a touchdown
Hmm.
because he didn't know the rules.
Hmm.
So um, I don't remember what he did, but it was glaringly obvious that it was a break. He didn't know the rules, and so he didn't return punts anymore. But yeah, silly things happen in real life all the time. So
Was there a? I'm not all that versed on the actual NFL anymore, but was there a Vikings game where like a field goal? They thought it hit the wire, and then the NFL was like, no, that definitely didn't happen, and some people are like, I don't know.
yeah, I think it was. I think the Vikings played in London or somewhere, and yeah, their kick definitely hit the wire. And the NFL, they on the field, they called it just they did said it didn't hit the wire, and so there was a no good field goal. And then the NFL came back like later in the week, and they're like, all right, okay, it did hit the wire, but we're not going to fix the stats, so it's still considered a miss. Um, but yeah, it definitely hit the wire. I think they were playing in London or something, but
Wild.
um, it's like the punts in Dallas where they hit the big jumbotron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
So, real quick, if you had unlimited time and power and ability and wanted to add a feature to the sim, either on the gameplay side or the sim side, or I don't know, any fun little tweak or add on you would want to put in there, do you know what it would be?
uh, I would add more like stamina base. I know it's something we're adding, but like stamina based rotations because I think that would make team building more fun if you had to have five defensive linemen or six that were like capable of playing because those guys rotate a lot in real life and I think that would be cool. Um, so that would probably be the number one thing, I guess. I would also probably do something with the fourth downs because I don't know if it would be adding like conditional statements or something, but
Mm.
that would also be a thing because I just ignore the fourth down options now. I just put them to zero because I know I understand how it's supposed to work, um, but I would rather just punt it than like you know have a chance. So that would be the other thing is like you know if you're at the 50 and it's 4th and 3, go for it. That type of thing would also
Yeah,
be pretty cool. If I had unlimited funds, I would pay somebody to do that.
yeah. We've talked.
But not subsequent though. Wouldn't pay him to do it. Would pay anybody else.
Yeah, we've talked about in general like aggression, conservatism, kind of sliders or ways to influence the game, and fourth down definitely comes into it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, right now fourth down only ever checks in like a very specific part of the field,
Mhm.
and everything else is just kind of by rote. Or the other big thing is things like fourth and one, like the goal line, like fourth and goal. Like right now
Mhm.
we have nothing to make it so like, oh, go for
Yeah.
touchdowns versus field goals, because if you're in field goal range you're gonna kick. So
Yeah. Yeah, those things would be cool and give, people more power, which is always something that we want to strive for is to give folks like the ability to do those things. But it's again hard, right? We talked about like the coding in the sim earlier, right? And so
mhm.
um, the coding involved to be able to make those decisions without it being like, oh, you're 4th and 1 from the opposite one or something. I don't. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But like similar, you don't want it to like um, fire incorrectly, and then somebody gets upset because they went for it from their own one or something
Hmm.
instead of the goal line or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember a couple years ago when there was a lot of accidental fourth downs from other sides of the field, and so people were assuming it was related to fourth down. It was actually related to how we were checking for punts. So it was a completely different thing. But everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
put your fourth down sliders really low." I was like, "That's actually
yeah,
not going to help." Um,
yeah. This is actually just a an unrelated related thing.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, the worst is when code doesn't fire at all and you can't figure out why. Because like I've put breakpoints in code and run season and it just doesn't trigger, and I'm like, well, now I
You were
don't,
supposed to do something.
right? Like I can't do anything if it doesn't ever run at all. There's no way for the system to tell me, well, this is why I'm not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
but oh man,
You
um,
know what's interesting?
yeah,
So I'm going to age myself a little bit. Um, I think one of the fun things is like the schemes with the sim and like building rosters to fit the schemes, right? And when the Steelers pool was generated, um, we had like Robert Berry and Christoph Leatherman, which I think is the most fantastic name of a player, right? Um, it's fun to me that the pool like kind of, and this was before there were like schemes. The pool was like a very like 3-4 centric team. Um, and when I was growing up, the Steelers had Dick LeBeau as their defensive coordinator, and they were a very like 3-4 centric like blitzing team. And so I've like the pool has like pushed me to be able to kind of like replicate those Steeler teams that I had growing up, right? Um, you know, uh, Gomez Rodriguez, like he's a little Troy Polamalu esque. He's not quite as good, but he's like, we kind of got the good safety, and we've got the stud, blitzing linebackers, and the Casey Hampton in the middle with Robert Berry. So I have enjoyed that I've been able to replicate my the 2010s 2000 the aughts Steelers defense, which I've just aged myself, but it
no,
is what it is, right?
I'm right there with you. Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about your defensive line, which is just absolutely terrifying. One of the
Mm-hmm.
yeah one of the strongest position groups in the AFC east of the Rockies. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited about them because I think at least what I've noticed in some of the both the college games and the pro the preseason games is like um, the last year like you could run people could run on anybody, right? But it feels like it's a lot more what I've seen in kind of the results. Like really good defenses are really shutting down the run. Um, when I played Bowling Green, I had like 2.8 yards carry, and um, I played for week 3. The Tampa wanted to play their starters, and I was like, well, it's not going to do you any good if I play my backups against your starters. You're not going to learn anything. So I'll play my starters too. But like, you know, the way that they were able to impact the run was was good, and the same for my spring game with West Virginia against Florida State. I was able to really contain. I lost by a lot, but I was able to contain Max Howard. Is it Max Howard? Is he the Florida State running back, or is it Matt Howard? One of the Howards.
one of the Howards.
Um, yeah. Anyway, I rambled on a lot, but like I'm excited. I think the defense is really going to make an impact. So um, I think that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, they are very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for Leatherman to retire. A, so I don't have to play against him anymore, and B, so I don't have to ever try to spell his first name anymore. Because there's a couple Y's and a Z, and
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I
I think the The other funny like addition is the the pictures on Interface 2.0. How
Yes.
all the players have. So and I don't all the players are so like Christoph Leatherman kind of like looks like what you would envision a Christoph Leatherman looking like, which I think is hilarious. So um, yeah, it's yeah he's him and Barry and Von Johnson, who I think we got from Kansas City last year. Like those are a pretty studly
Hmm.
front three.
Yeah. I joked in Cleveland I wanted to start collecting redheads because they look so good with my team background color. It really makes the team picture pop. You know, there's stats and attributes, and then there's vibes, and then there's how well they look on the team photo. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Right.
however you build your team.
Yeah. If my guy's not looking good on the field, then how are they going to play good, right? And so
Right.
if their picture is not good, if they're not looking like a football player, then I don't want them, right?
Oh man. Um, well, smackemz, I appreciate your time. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for jumping on the pod and talking with me today. Um,
Yeah.
any any other final thoughts, final hot takes, any lasting thoughts before we let you go today?
Hot takes. I'm just going to say it that Utah, they're coming in like third in the Big 12 in college. They're gonna Texas Tech, I think is going to win, um, and then West Virginia is going to come in second, and then Utah, and then Baylor. So that's my hot take: is Texas Tech is going to win the Big 12 in college football. And then, do I have an NFL hot take? I think the Chargers. Like, I think they could. I think they could win the AFC West. That's my other hot take. They're going to beat Denver. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, folks. All right. Well, smackemz, thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone, thank you for listening to this episode of the SimSN Podcast, and we will catch you next time. So long.
Thanks.